Hey, what's up guys, Totally Dubbed here, and today I'm going to give you my one-day impressions of the Nokia Lumia 1020. The reason I'm doing a first impressions is because I did an unboxing video and I wasn't happy with it, especially when I was doing testing some stuff on the Nokia 1020. So I thought it would be a better idea that if I use the phone for at least one day and then give my initial impressions, and then after 2 weeks or so, after my trial has ended with the Lumia 1020, I do a full-length review. So this is based on just a day's impressions. What I've done is I've set up all my things as I would do on my phone if I had this phone. By the way, I want to thank Nokia Connects, especially Paul, for sending me the 1020 to review. And before getting into anything else, I'm just going to show you what you get in the box. You get a set of earphones, you've got some set of tips, and you've got the micro SIM remover, which is at the top, and that's pretty much it. You get some manuals and whatnot in the box. So what the Lumia 1020 is, should I say known for, because it's just actually quite new as a phone, but the reason why it's so popular is because of its huge 41 megapixel camera at the back. I'll get to that in just a second. So I've been using this for a day and I've set up all my things, I've customized it the way I want to, and there are certain things that I just can't get over right now, simply because I'm moving from, well, not moving from Android, but coming from Android. It's a bit of a difference, but that said, there are a lot of things also that I really like. So first of all, I'll start with the actual physical phone itself and just talk quickly about the build. It's quite a nice build. It's the famous Nokia build that you'd get on the other Lumias, for example. It's a very much square type look, which is okay for most, but personally I prefer a more rounded feel. Like the S3 over here has a rounded feel. As you can see, it fits into my palm pretty nicely when I'm using it one-handed. And when it goes over here, it's kind of digging in instead. This is just a design feature that I'm just not a fan of that much, but as build quality goes, the Lumia 1020, there's no compromise there. Brilliant build quality. You've got the charging point over here, you've got a speaker port over here, you've got something to hang your 1020 if you want. You've got the Xenon flash over here, which is very powerful, and the camera. And you've got the headphone jack at the top, and you've got the micro SIM to insert over here. And on the right hand side, you've got a dedicated camera button, which is really cool, the power on off button, and you've got the volume rocker. Now my other complaint of the design feature after using it for just a few days is because there's nothing on the left hand side. Now if you remember the S3, you've got the volume rocker on the left side, you've got the power on the right, and you've got the jack at the top. I would have liked if one of these buttons were on the left hand side, especially the power button being different from the volume rocker. I think the camera button is perfectly placed, because when you hold the camera it's just like that, and I think it's exactly where you'd want it to be. But one of these buttons over here I would have preferred if it was over there, just because it allows for some other operations to be done. Because over here you've got your hand, if you're right-handed, because you're going to use your right hand, you're going to have it on your left hand, and therefore if you want to volume rock up and down or turn it on off, you don't have to use these fingers. And similarly, if you're right-handed like this, and you're left-handed, you want to use it left hand with with two-handed operation, again you want something to be over here so it's easy to access. So I don't know why Nokia decided to put every single button on that side. I'm not really sure. It's maybe because of the accessory pack that they designed, which I don't have, but it clips on top over there, and I guess they want everything to be at the top. But I don't know, I would have preferred if there was a button over here. So that's something to do with the design. In terms of another thing about the design, this is mainly comparing it to the HTC One, is its speaker. Now the speaker is great. I found it really powerful, really crystal clear so far on playing music out loud and whatnot, compared to the Galaxy S3s, which is at the bottom. And you can see the size of the speaker is quite a significant difference. And I really like this, but the HTC One really wins in terms of that design. When they have front-facing speakers, the sound really comes out really loud and really nice and clear. So that's just a little feature I would have preferred to be at the top, but that's it as a HTC One thing, and I can't really complain, especially coming from the Samsung. So the speaker is very good, and the audio quality in that respect is very nice. Apart from that, the screen, in terms of its specs, is 720p HD, and I'm slightly disappointed, to be honest. I would have preferred a 1080p full HD screen, seeing as this is a, shall I say, brand new phone, and it is the one of their top-end phones, if not the top-end phone of all Windows phones out there. I would have liked a 1080p screen, and the reason why I want a 1080p screen is mainly to do with the camera. When I take those beautiful pictures with the 41 megapixel camera, I would have liked to see great detail on my phone, as I would have done on my PC. But over here, when I'm looking at photos on the phone, they don't look as sharp and as clear, and it's definitely something I notice when you're looking at such high resolution pictures. You come to notice that when you're looking at text and whatnot, you're not going to really notice it that much. There's not that much difference. Sure, there is a difference, and people will argue, oh, there's a huge difference, but no, in my opinion, there's not a huge difference when it comes to just browsing, emails, and whatnot. But when you're looking at photo viewing and you're looking at big files which need a lot of detail, that 1080p screen would have really done well. Another thing is, again, is the screen size. This is again the thing I brought out on the Lumia 800. If you look at the screen size over here, you've got from this corner to that corner of screen on the S3, whereas over here you've got all this black bezel which is absolutely pointless and not being used at all. No matter what happens, it's not being used. So all of this is just not being used most of the time, and it's just a shame. I would have liked more screen size, just a bigger screen, but I guess Nokia thought it'd be better to have that design right there. Finally, and another thing in terms of design, it's actually to do with the camera itself. You can't really complain about it because of its quality, but as you can see, it is sticking out a little bit, and because of that, you have it uneven, and it's kind of annoying if you're going to be using your phone on the ground, but also because you might be scratching your lens, or you might be scratching this part of the camera. And I personally always face my thing down, because on the S3, for example, the camera is slightly slanted out. It's even got a scratch on the lens, which is not directly affecting the camera, but it's just on the outer bit of that lens right there. You probably can't see it, but if I use this for a while, I'm pretty sure it'll get some scratches and whatnot and scuffs, and it's something I really don't want to damage. It's the selling point of this phone is its camera, and for it to be hanging down there just makes me feel uncomfortable, and I usually do this, so it slides quite nicely. But anyway, in terms of the actual phone itself, I've really gotten to love Windows Phone, and when I used Windows Phone 7 last year, I really liked it. Very smooth, very good, and this is the same experience we get here. Now, the specs of the phone aren't like high class, like quad core or maybe 8 core, whatever. It's just a dual core inside. However, you don't really need more on a Windows phone. It's really fast, really snappy. Everything works, everything syncs really well. All the apps seem to run at quick pace. It's like when you compare an iPhone with an Android phone, the Android phone is generally, even spec for spec like, would be a little bit sluggish in comparison to an iPhone, simply because the iPhone's OS is designed for one phone. And this is the same sort of principle you get with the Windows Phone. It feels like the Windows Phone is tailor made for this phone, and especially it's Nokia, which are now owned by Microsoft themselves. You can see that there's a really good integration between Nokia and Microsoft. I don't know if this applies for HTC and Samsung, which also have Windows Phone phones, but for Nokia especially, they're partnered with Microsoft. They've now been bought by Microsoft, and because of all of that, it just makes an absolutely fluid and smooth experience. It's really nice, really great to use. No lag, nothing like that. So people looking at specs, sure, look at specs, but before you look at specs, also try out the phone. And this also applies for the camera. Don't just say, oh, it's 41 megapixels, it must be good. No, you should try it out. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to try it out. Now, in terms of the software, apart from that, again, Windows Phone is a little bit behind in terms of providing a lot of apps and whatnot, and I find a lot of stuff missing and a lot of stuff just not there. For example, I would find an Android, let alone on iOS, that you might not find even on Android. There's a lot of things which are missing, just simple things like Instagram, Vine. They're really, really simple things, and I mean, I can't really blame Microsoft. It's mainly to do with developers in this respect, but I've got to say it's just a shame because it's such a good operating system, and I would really like to see it progress a lot more. So there's always that case of, oh, you're going to get less apps and whatnot. Yes, but also try and bear in mind what apps you're going to use. Things like the Nokia programs over here, where is it, Nokia Here Maps and whatnot, Here Drive Plus, are absolutely sensational. I've got to say, really, really like it. Download offline maps with a touch of a button. Download it over Wi-Fi and you've got offline maps wherever you go and whatnot, and you don't even need internet. And things like Office that you've got that you won't find in other phones anywhere. This is full Office, as in you're looking at Excel, you're looking at Word, and you're looking at PowerPoint. This is really why I love Windows Phone, is because as I use Windows on my PC, naturally if I have Windows on here, it's really nice because everything can be read and edited and whatnot. So I can really see this really being used by executives especially. So it's really nice. And on that note of that, of Windows running on here and both on my PC, it's great for synchronizing. Synchronizing, for example, my music was really simple. I just plugged it in on my computer, and initially I drag and dropped all my music like I did for Android. However, I was like, why should I do that when I can sync my playlist? And I just synced my playlist. It took just a little bit of time because I have 8-9 gigs of music, and everything was there, and I was just really happy with all my music being transferred perfectly across, all albums, artists and whatnot right there. So I can't really complain in that respect. However, the music app feels a little bit sluggish, I've got to say. When changing songs, I felt like it was a little sluggish. I think this is to do with the application. It's just like the Samsung application. The Samsung inbuilt application for music player is really, really sluggish and really far behind in comparison to apps out there on the Android market, such as PowerAmp, which is absolutely amazing to use music on. And I'm sure there's music players out there for Windows Phone 8 as well, Windows Phone shall I say in general. However, I'm just looking at the what comes with the phone rather than installing separate applications, because I'm reviewing the phone rather than the application. So Windows Phone is great. However, when it comes to the music and on this Nokia, it's a little bit sluggish, and you can see it's not too intuitive. You can click there and jump to your jump to the letter over there, but it's not too intuitive in terms of what you can do. So overall, after one day, I've been really impressed with the software integration of the Lumia 1020. Really, really thorough application on the phone that they've done. Really impressed with that. And now I guess I should talk about its call qualities. For example, I made a call, received a call, sent text and whatnot. Perfect quality. A few reviewers complained about the speaker not being loud enough in your ear. Well, I found the speaker to be loud enough for my ears. And my Galaxy S3 was pretty much the same volume. The Note 2 actually is lower volume than both the things, at least in my opinion from testing. So call quality is very good, very crystal clear, and a quite nice thing. I'll just take this call. Sorry for that, just had a call, so that's why I cut the video. It's actually from Denon about inquiring for headphones. But yeah, so now I should probably, after talking about the phone quality, which was perfect, it was great, call reception and the audio quality was quite good, I should probably talk about the biggest selling feature of this phone, and that is the camera feature. Now, my first impressions of the camera were horrible. I'm not going to lie about that. They were absolutely horrible. What I did, I took these earphones, I put them on the ground, and I was trying to take pictures of them. Now, the picture quality at first was horrible, and why I say horrible, I mean, I took my S3, which is obviously a lower end camera in there, only 8 megapixel and whatnot, took some pictures, and the picture quality of my S3 was much better, a lot better than the one with coming out of the Lumia. And I was really surprised. I was like, well, it shouldn't be like this. It should be the other way around. You know, the Lumia should absolutely destroy the S3 in every aspect. So now I said, okay, I'll go out and play some football outside, and I'll take my Lumia 1020 with me, and I'll take some pictures with it. And the pictures I took with the Lumia 1020 were absolutely sensational. I haven't got them on my phone, but I've got them on my PC. But I don't know if you can see the quality over here is absolutely spot on, and you hardly get any quality loss even with zooming in. It's really sharp. The image is just beautiful, and what you can do with adjusting with the focus and whatnot, it might seem really simple, but when it comes to a phone, it is beautiful. I've got to say, I've just been taking pictures and just enjoy taking pictures with it, and it's just something you don't see. And even that, look, just the detail you've got there, the sharpness of that. You can see all those little hairs on my little Yoda guy over here, and this quality you do not see. Now here you can see where I was alluding to the 1080p screen. If I had a nice 1080p screen, I wouldn't see as many pixels. They would be much clearer, but when you put this on the PC, my god does it look good. Now the camera app itself is very intuitive, very good, and I really like the Pro app rather than the normal app. Now what you do is when you go on the Pro app, you've got different selections up there, and you can change them to a different value by clicking on them, or you can hold the camera button and drag it out, and then you ended up with all these little options over here. So for example, the focus over here, I can focus it, and I don't know if you can see, look. Can you see how that goes out focus, in focus? I'm literally adjusting that as I would do on a proper camera, and I just think it's absolutely amazing that works so well. I've left everything to auto mainly, but with the focus I just come and play around with it. You can tap to focus when you're on auto, and also with this dedicated camera button you can hold and it will focus and then take a picture. Now my only complaint of the camera is actually the fact of how long it takes to take a picture. So it might seem fast at first, but when I compare it to something like the Galaxy S3, I take pictures like bang, 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 bang. It takes loads of pictures really quick, and that is definitely because of the quality being different. And I would really like to see this camera being much faster paced. But that said, for the quality you get on this phone is absolutely amazing. And what I've set it to is a 16 by 9 with 5 megapixel and 34 megapixel. What this means is that it saves 2 pictures, and you will get 2 pictures in your folder. The reason they do this is actually very nice, because the 5 megapixel is used for sharing, and 34 megapixel is actually used for, you put this on your PC and you can enjoy it on your PC type thing. So the 5 megapixel one can be shared with Twitter, Facebook, whatnot, and is the best picture to share. Now its average file size, just to give you an FYI, is between 1.8 megabytes to 2.5 megabytes on the 5 megapixel, and for the 34 or 38 megapixel, the 38 megapixel you go by 4 by 3 and you get 38, is around 8 megabyte to 12 megabyte, depending on the detail there was there. But anyway, that is the file size. And in terms of file size, now this is another thing that I find a little bit lacking on the Lumia, is that you've got no micro SD card anywhere on the phone. Therefore you've got the 32 gigabytes that come with the phone, which in reality is more like 29 gigabytes. But I find it a little bit lacking in terms of space, because if I take loads of, by the way, sorry, I meant 32 gigabytes, I think I said megabytes, but anyway, if I take loads of photos, it's going to take that battery, not the battery, well, it's actually going to take the battery as well, but take loads of the memory out of my phone, and I won't have any memory left, meaning I have to quite often sync to the PC and get the photos out of the phone. And I know there's a lot of people which have over like 300-400 pictures on their phone alone, and you won't be able to do that with this with the Lumia unless you take only 5 megapixel pictures, which is fine, but seeing as you have this for a reason, you really want to take high quality pictures. Now, I just said battery life, and there's something actually I should talk about as well, because battery life I find kind of lacking. It's got a 2000 milliamp battery at the back, but I found that once using the camera for a little while, your battery drains really quickly, especially when you have the Xenon flash. I actually realized after taking loads of pictures that the camera, just this part of the camera, of this phone even, was really hot, as in it felt really hot. And you know, when there's some people on the Galaxy S3 that complain about heating issues, well, I felt it was really hot on the camera itself. So that was my first impressions of the Lumia, Lumia's camera, and how it performed, especially with its battery life. Battery life lasted me less than a day, and that's with taking only a few photos and a few videos. And when I took loads of photos, the battery life started draining really quickly. I mean, really quickly. We're looking at 10 to 20% drain within just a few, less than an hour, let's put it that way. So battery can go really quickly, and seeing as you have no external battery slot, it means that you can't replace the battery or have an extra battery on you. You have to carry one of those external chargers. So guys, I know I've been rambling on for a long time. It's longer than I wanted to go over for the impressions of the Lumia 1020, but I thought I should give my first day impressions, and that's pretty much all my first impressions put into one. There's things I should talk about. For example, the lack of disabling auto rotation on Windows Phone 8, but overall, my first impressions, I've got to say, are very positive. But there's a lot of things holding this phone back from being a really top-end phone and being a really 10 out of 10 rated phone. A lot of those things actually relate to software-related things, but there's hardware-related stuff as well. For example, the screen in there, which could have been much better. So anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and hopefully this gives you enough information for the time being until I publish a full review in about 2 weeks, and it will be on my website as well. And I'll definitely make sure to post full resolution pictures, which I don't normally do, but I'm going to put full resolution pictures on my website as well, so you guys can see full res pictures of the Lumia 1020, and you guys can see its beautiful details. And it is honestly absolutely amazing to look at. And just to show you on my PC, I've got some pictures over here that I took. I just want to show you the detail on this picture, for example. Something you will not really see that well on the camera, as in on your camera you're watching through right now. But the detail on this is absolutely sensational. The quality of this, I mean, I can just see the raindrops and whatnot over there. These things are things that you won't really see on even some professional cameras out there. And even some cool things like doing low light pictures. This was taken in quite low light. You'd be impressed of how low light this was actually taken in. It doesn't look like it on the picture. It looks like it's a really loads of light over here, loads of light over there. But no, this was a really low light picture, and it took it like a bouse. I've got to say, really perfect picture that it's taken, and I was really impressed. And with the picture qualities that I was complaining about before, as you can see, look at that, it's completely blurred. This was my first impressions of the phone, and it wasn't performing that well at close range, and it always was turning on the flash and couldn't focus properly as well. But once I took it outside and took some nice pictures outside, I got some beautiful photos over here, and as you can see, the quality is absolutely sensational. You guys won't be able to really fully appreciate appreciate this through the camera and through YouTube, and therefore that's why I'm going to upload these to my website so you guys can actually enjoy these photos. And I've got to say they are wallpaper worthy photos that you can take and you can use as a background on your computer, something I would have never seen possible with a Galaxy S3, and even sometimes impossible to take it with my full camera, for example my camera that I've got right now recording this video. Anyway guys, rambled on for a long time. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Take care guys, totally dubbed out. Bye bye.